Admiral Vexithara of the Hegemony's Third Fleet reviewed the intelligence reports one final time as her massive dreadnought emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. The primitive blue-green world hung before them like a ripe fruit waiting to be plucked. "Tactical assessment confirms our advanced scout's findings, Admiral," reported her intelligence officer, his scaled hands dancing across holographic displays. "Single planetary body with approximately 8 billion inhabitants. Crude chemical propulsion technology, no energy shields detected, no orbital defense platforms. Their most advanced vessels barely qualify as intersystem capable." Vexthara's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. After 3 centuries of expansion across the galaxy, the hegemony had learned to identify easy conquests. This Earth would join their empire within a standard cycle, its population enslaved, its resources harvested. "Signal the fleet," she commanded. Standard intimidation formation. Broadcast surrender terms on all frequencies. The sight that materialized in Earth's sky should have broken any species' will to resist. 15 massive warships, each stretching over 2 kilometers in length, their hulls bristling with energy weapons capable of cracking continents. The smaller escort vessels numbered in the hundreds, their sleek forms designed to inspire terror in planetary populations. The surrender broadcast transmitted in a dozen languages, decoded from Earth's own communication networks. "People of Earth, you are now subjects of the galactic hegemony. Resistance is futile. Your defensive capabilities are non-existent. Submit, and your transition to imperial rule will be swift and merciful." What came back was not the expected plea for negotiation or panicked surrender. Instead, a single voice responded in clear, calm English. "This is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Space Command. You have entered restricted space without authorization. You have 30 minutes to withdraw, or we will consider your presence an act of war." Vexithara's translator worked for several moments before she could process the audacity. The intelligence officer stared at his displays in confusion. "Admiral, their response makes no sense. We've confirmed they have no orbital defenses, no energy weapons, no—" The officer's words died as proximity alarms screamed across the bridge. On the main display, space itself seemed to shimmer and fold. Then, as if emerging from invisible cocoons, human warships began to decloak. First one, then 10, then hundreds. "By the void," whispered the tactical officer. "Where did they come from?" The ships that materialized around the hegemony fleet were unlike anything in their databases. Sleek, angular vessels that seemed to bend light around their edges. No two appeared identical, as if each had been custom-built for specific purposes. Some bristled with weapons arrays that hummed with unfamiliar energy signatures. Others were massive, dreadnought-class vessels that dwarfed even Vexthara's flagship. "Stealth technology," breathed the science officer. "Impossible. Our sensors should have detected any ship within 50 million kilometers." Admiral Chen's voice cut through their shock. 29 minutes, Admiral Vexthara. I suggest you use them wisely." "How do they know my name?" Vexithara demanded, but her crew had no answers. More ships continued to appear. Carriers disgorged swarms of fighters that moved with impossible agility. Massive platforms that had been disguised as asteroids revealed themselves, their surfaces opening like mechanical flowers, to expose weapon systems that made the hegemony's arsenal look primitive. "Full sensor sweep," Vexthara ordered. "I want to know how many ships we're facing." The answer, when it came, defied belief. Over 3,000 vessels, ranging from small frigates to massive dreadnoughts that stretched nearly 4 kilometers from bow to stern. But it wasn't just the numbers, it was the technology. Energy readings showed power cores operating on principles the hegemony's scientists didn't recognize. Weapon systems that bent spacetime itself. Defensive fields that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Admiral," her communications officer reported with a trembling voice, "we're receiving data streams from Earth. Historical records, cultural archives, military doctrine. They're showing us everything." On the main screen, images flashed. Human conflicts throughout history, endless wars that had raged for millennia. But also something else. Cooperation born from conflict. Unity forged in the fires of adversity. The records showed a species that had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war, then channeling that expertise into defending their home. "They've been watching us," the intelligence officer whispered. "Our advanced scouts, our probe ships, they knew we were coming." Fleet Admiral Chen's image appeared on their main screen. a woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Behind her, the bridge of her vessel hummed with activity as humans prepared for war. "You're wondering how we knew," she said as if reading Vexathara's thoughts. "Your stealthy reconnaissance ships weren't as invisible as you believed. We've been tracking your empire's expansion for 50 years, studying your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses." The tactical display updated again. The human fleet had repositioned itself in a perfect sphere around the hegemony forces. Every escape route was blocked. Every angle of attack was covered. "We learned something important during our rise to space," Chen continued. "A species doesn't survive to reach the stars by being defenseless. We survive by being prepared, by adapting, by making our enemies' greatest strengths into their fatal weaknesses." "Impossible," Vexathara muttered. "Our intelligence indicated—" "Your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to see," Chen interrupted. "Those primitive vessels you detected? Decoys, the chemical propulsion you observed? A lovely light show we put on for your probes. Did you really think a species crazy enough to strap themselves to controlled explosions just to leave their gravity well would stop innovating once they reached space?" The countdown continued. 15 minutes, 10. 5. "You have a choice, Admiral," Chen said as the final minute approached. "Withdraw now and carry word back to your hegemony. Earth is not defenseless. Earth is not alone. And humanity is done being the galaxy's prey." Vexathara looked at her tactical display one final time. 3,000 human warships, their weapons powered and ready, her 15 ships hopelessly outgunned and surrounded. For the first time in 3 centuries of conquest, the hegemony fleet turned and ran. As the alien ships disappeared into hyperspace, Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. The orbital defense platforms would remain cloaked, the hidden shipyards would continue their work, and humanity would keep its secrets. After all, the best defense was the one your enemy never saw coming.